computer, you have to hit OK. Anyway.
Just turn me on, turn me up, and turn me loose.
Away probably 10 pair of glasses.
See, I can't push.
And we're live.
We are live. Look at us go. Well, Squirrel is missing in action.
Yeah, that's not surprising, though. Who are you talking to in there?
Well, I've got somebody rolled in fresh from Hollins, Alabama. Been camping for a whole week and we'll whoop it around. We have Mr. Gary Spikes in the house. Look at there.
The man, the myth, the legend.
He is going to rest and recuperate before he goes on his big 12 or so hour journey, 13-hour journey all the way back to Oklahoma. So Gary is here. He's sitting over in the recliner resting and going to be doing his famous moderating for us.
Yep. Gary, even though Gary's at the man cave, he's still in the chat. So y'all watch what you say. Gary jump right on you like a rattlesnake.
That's right.
How did Hollins go, everybody?
Man, apparently they had all kind of activity go on. A lot of good folks. Me and one and Abby went down. All I could get down there, y'all, was yesterday. We got there about 3:00 and a lot of people. We got there. There was a few of them going over to the conference that apparently the conference was horrible. I think they had about 30 people showed up to the conference.
Yeah.
I mean, something happened with their advertisement and all that stuff, and I think it was horrible. I hate it for them. I mean, I know they had a lot of money and expense tied up in it, and had to win in a hole several $1,000s.
Oh,
I mean, they was wound up last night at count. I think it was 40 people, or right at 40, or a little.
I counted 40.
Gary said he counted 40.
And
So
I didn't get them all. There was some still down.
Yeah, so we had more people at the last night in camp than they had at the conference, which that's all right because man, we had some great people. I mean, just all kind of folks had come, and Roger and Heather was there, and Joe and Pat, and Bud and Angie, and good Lord, they was a pile. Gary and
Eric.
Chad and Eric was there. Erica was there, and man, they was a crew. Of course, Abby had to make her rounds and hug everybody. And
John and Katie G.
Yeah, John and Katie was there. I mean, I know I'm missing out a pile of names, y'all, but Lord, they was
Stacy Thrasher and
yes,
her husband.
Stacy Thrasher and her husband was there.
That's what I keep saying. One of our meet and greets is equivalent to 3 conferences put together. Everybody just needs to come to a meet and greet.
Oh, that's a fact, dude. Well, what we need to do is we need to just host a Woodwalker conference one of these days.
The conference is the same thing as the meet and greet.
I know, but we'll just call it a conference.
Harley Owens was there.
Yeah.
We'll call it a conference, and then everybody can just come to that. Surprise, it's a meet and greet.
No doubt. And man, look at there.
Oh, is that the shirt?
Yep, that's the shirt.
Yeah,
that's the shirt. Yep, that's the front part. Woodwalker logo. That's the same. Y'all, that's the same logo. It's tattooed on my leg.
We're trying to get Woodwalker swag, y'all. Greg is in charge of the swag.
No doubt. We're gonna have merch. We're gonna have merch officially. That's what Abby said. Said, y'all got merch? I said, yeah, apparently. So, yep. A lot of folks walked off with T-shirts last night, and I'm gonna try to figure out something and post it on the Woodwalker page, or if people want some shirts. And y'all look, I mean, I could turn around and show you the backside, but look, just wait till I show you the pictures. I'll do it on the Woodwalkers. May do it and do it, price and then per ship. It depends on where they go.
Ain't it?
Oh, Pyro. Oh, there, PJ. I wish PJ and Paul and Pyro and them could have made it, but it was. Hey, look, it was nice and warm. People, when we got there, looked like melted ice cream cones.
Uh-huh.
It was.
Storms hit at 4 this morning.
Yeah, and then they had torrential storms this morning. Alabama. That's the thing about end of May, April, May, and June. The storms is like a toss up. That you may get blown away one day and the next day be fine. Matter of fact, I lost power. We turned in down there. It's 129 miles from right here to Hollins Campground. We left here yesterday morning, and when we got there, just as I was turning in, my neighbor at the man cave calls and says, "Hey, you got a big tree on your power line." Well, I got back here last night. I didn't have any power, and I got here at about 2:45 this morning, and I ran a generator last night, and I got up there messing with my power and got it back on. I've still got a big pine across my service line, and it's got my power pole pulled over, but I've got it where it's still workable. So I got power back today. I was out there 7 this morning trying to get it going. So yeah, but now they had some big storms hit down there, and so what Gary said, he felt like a drowned rat when he got here, and he got washed away nearly.
Everything out in the truck is soaked.
Yeah, everything he's got soaked, what he said. So we're gonna let him sit here and recuperate and dry out. And might have to find him some dry clothes in a minute.
I got
Well, all right. For everybody, sorry for the getting going late for a few minutes. We had technical difficulties. But anyway, we have a guest. Might as well bring Miss Dee Dee on. There she is. Everybody say hello to Dee Dee. Dee Dee, this is everybody.
Hey, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, ma'am.
We can hear you good. So, Dee Dee,
Yeah.
explain, just so everybody knows, the reason you're trying to do a last-minute go-over of some of your stuff is because you got big plans here coming up in the next couple of weeks. What's going on?
Well, I just retired about 2 weeks ago. Well, a week ago. Yes, Friday was my last day. Moving to my property in the hill country here in Texas, and planning on building a cabin, and I'm hoping to live off grid for a while, until we're going to see what happens. But that's the plan. I'm going to be a mountain woman, I guess.
What part of Texas is that in? Is that like northeast, southeast? Where?
No, it's in southwest Texas. It's about 70 miles from the Mexico border.
Oh, wow.
If you go from Del Rio, it's about 70 miles up southwest. It's in the middle of nowhere, pretty much, in Texas, but it's a lot of hunting land out there, hill country, rugged. It's mountain lion country.
Wow. Well,
Yep.
how much acreage have you got?
I got 20 acres. But I'm surrounded by 330,000 acres of the ranch. So
wow,
it's open land out there. So there's a lot of wild game. There's a lot of exotic game and stuff that are on that ranch. So everything you could think of, you could shoot. They even have elk out there.
Well, look, I can tell you, look, if you get out there and stuff gets wild, just remember, me and Spencer have gun, we'll travel. We'll come help you out.
I'd love to go on an elk hunt.
Well,
Oh, my.
you never know what you're going to come across out there. There's bighorn sheep or all kinds of stuff. Yeah. But once I get established, I'll probably put up a feeder and then I'll track everything. So.
Wow.
Yeah. But
Reckon,
She's gonna
reckon
live
there's
out of
gonna
a tent or a camper for a little while.
is it
yeah,
gonna be booger activity out there where you're going?
I don't know. Could be. If they are, they're passing through. There's not really a big river or water stream around there, but they're I mean about 5 miles maybe away. Um, but there have been dogmen sightings not too far from me. So
Hmm.
that's kind of scary for me, but I'm just going to be prepared for whatever kind of creature comes out. You know,
Man, ain't gonna
I'm,
lie.
Yeah,
I'm pretty well, uh, pretty stocked on ammo, so
there you. That's what I'm talking about.
I
She's,
am.
Yeah,
she's got a gun and a dog. She'll be okay.
Several guns.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be an adventure. I mean, I'm gonna see what happens. I mean, I'm free to move on. I got my camper. I can go pretty much places as much as I can. Retirement don't pay a whole lot, so I won't be going a lot, but at least I'll have a way to go get out if I needed to.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, for everybody that hasn't seen you before or doesn't know anything about you, why don't you go over briefly your original experience? And is it you're there right now, right? Where you live right now is where your encounter happened, right?
Yes. Yeah. Well, I guess I could just start from the beginning and just tell you a little bit about me. I grew up in East Texas on a cattle ranch near Sam Houston's National Forest. That's where Debbie Porch had her encounter. Um, I used to roam around those woods as a teenager, wild teenager, with a bunch of my friends, and we hung out there and everything. But anyway, I used to uh, rodeo. I started rodeoing when I was 8 years old, and my family rode in all kinds of rodeos and things, and so I traveled with my family, and I began to went to college, and I began to teach school. I taught school for like 28 years, but when I first started, I did other things. I got my master's degree and went on, and I became a youth pastor for a little while. Worked in a church, and then I went professional rodeo, and then I went back to teaching. I think the last 16 years I taught straight, but it was back and forth. I don't know if I want to do this. I want to do this, and I did a lot of different things. And then I got, I kind of say this to my friends, but I got stupid and got married. And I'm not married anymore. I'll say that. But anyway, when I got married, my husband kind of made me quit traveling because I was pretty much on the road all the time and traveling and riding. And so then I came back and then I got back into teaching, and I taught school for a while, and I got this place in the hill country, a teaching job in Comfort, Texas, and this is kind of where my story started. And I was on about 26 acres with in a cabin in the middle of nowhere. It was kind of up in the hills, kind of like where I'm going to go now. But I began to get my cabin slapped on the side of the house, and when I kept hearing this slap, I was brushing it off. Bigfoot was not even close on my radar or nothing because my whole family was hunting, fishing. I was a big rock hound, hiking. I grew up on 3 ranches in the hill country as well. And so I was used to that kind of environment. And I thought I brushed it off to maybe a hog or this donkeys that lived on my property, that they were hitting the cabin or something. So, but finally one night it hit the cabin so hard it knocked the pictures almost off the walls. I mean, it was like boom, and I was like, it scared me, and I jumped out of the bed. I had 2 dogs at the time. They jumped up, and they didn't bark. They just freaked. They just jumped up, and I jumped up, and I got my gun, and I pointed it toward the door. I was like, somebody's here is going to break in on me, and I was freaking out. And so there's only a couple of windows that you could see out of, and you couldn't see to the side or the back. So I looked out the front window. Of course, there was nothing, but I wasn't going outside, and 'cause I didn't know what it was, and it was pretty dark. So anyway, it kind of disturbed me enough where I had bought some game cameras and I put up on the side of the, not knowing anything that deterred them, but I put up a game camera on that side of the house, and the slapping stopped. Never got pictures of anything but a fox or two, that was running around on the property. But there was all kinds of animals out there too. And anyway, after that, I moved to. I was going to buy that property and retire there, and the man died, and his kids sold the property out from under me right before closing. I was pretty upset, but anyway, I had a friend that was head of a music department in New Mexico and Santa Fe, and she offered me a job, and I said, I'm coming. So I was out for a new adventure. I went to in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I got a real cool place to live where I could view the mountains from every corner. And I every chance I got, I was up in the mountains fishing or hiking, or up in the Pecos River begins right up in the top of the one of the mountains there, San Cristo Mountains. And I would hike up farthest I could go and rock hunt and fish, just me and my dogs. Most of the time I didn't see anybody around, and I was just out in the middle of nowhere all the time. And I did that all over northern New Mexico, and just having a blast. I have videos in my YouTube, but not YouTube. I have videos that I took that I posted on Facebook, of me hiking and doing everything I went and did. Well, one day, I just so happened to be there when the pandemic hit. That was horrible. I mean, 6 months of teaching, and boom, I was at home. So for New Mexico didn't go back to school though. For a year and a half, we taught online. And so I was getting stir crazy. It was spring break of like 2021. Spring break, I was ready to get out of there. And where I lived, it was a lot of snow in the mountains. It was pretty heavy, snowy. It was still snow. It snowed all the way till June, But I mean, it was cold in spring break. So I mean, it was a ski area, So there was a lot of snow in the mountains, But anyway, I decided I had to get out of the house, so I was gonna drive and to go scout out a place I wanted to go pan for gold, that I had been looking for places to go. And so I got my dogs in the truck, and I went up this mountain, and I got way, way up this place, and it was called Willow Creek is where I was going. I had no idea Willow Creek was the Bigfoot place. Yeah. So I went, it's off of the Pecos River, and way up in the San Cristo Mountains near Pecos. And so I went up, and I ran into a game warden on the way up, and he was the only person I saw. And he said, we got to talking. I told him I was going to look around for a place to pan for gold. And he said, well, the river's frozen still in a lot of places in the creeks, and it's pretty cold up there. And I said, I know, but I still want to go. So I went on up, and then I got closed in. I went down to this place, and there was a parking area. It wasn't much of one. And I got out, and the dogs jumped out of the truck, and I opened the door, and it was like I tell everybody, it was like a Christmas card. It was a beautiful picture of snow and ice, and the river was running under the ice, and there was some parts of the river it wasn't frozen, but the bank that I was on was all frozen ice, and it looked like it had been frozen, thawed, and frozen, like kind of ice. And so I started walking out to this icy spot, where the dog's head was looking around. I was looking around, just checking everything out, and I began to look down. I saw footprints, And I was like, what? And they were big, huge footprints. And I started following them, and it was about, I don't know, 200 yards maybe that they walked, or less, maybe 150 yards. They walked to the end, to the creek, and they ended in the creek. You couldn't see them anymore. But then I walked back up the thing, and I was looking at the other ones, and I found another set on the other side walking parallel. And there was two different sizes of tracks, and I was like, wow, what is this, And then I started getting, the hair on the back of my hair, on the back of my neck was raising up. I was like, this is creepy, And I thought, man, I got a video. I got to take pictures, So I got my phone and I took some snapshots, and I started walking down the thing, and I put my glasses beside the pictures, but that didn't work. And I put my foot beside the pictures. Beside the prints. So that didn't work. So I went back to the truck, and I had a tackle box in my truck, and I had a fishing measuring thing in my tackle box. And I went back and I measured the tracks, and they were 16.5 inches long, and they were about 4.5 to 5 feet, 5 inches wide. And then I measured the stride. That's what got me. The stride was 4.5 feet apart. And I was like, I tried to walk or step from one step to the next, and I couldn't. And then my heart started beating real fast. I was like, crap, is this thing still out here? What is this? And I started looking around. The dogs were real spooked, and I was like, let's, get out of here. Well, I got spooked enough where I should have videoed the tracks. Instead, I just took a snapshot here and there, And I went ahead and got the dogs and loaded in the truck and took off. And I felt it felt creeped out, like something was watching me. And that wasn't the first time. On one of the hikes that I went on, I felt like that too. And I wasn't at a place for a minute, and I had to leave because I got creeped out. I thought something was watching me at another place I went to, and I didn't know what it was. I'm thinking bear, or mountain lion, because there are bear, mountain lion up there. And so anyway, I got in the truck and left, and I couldn't stop thinking about those tracks. I was like, there's something. Is this Bigfoot? And so I went home and I got on the line, and I started searching the internet, trying to figure out what I saw, because I had not even had that on my mind. I've been everywhere in the mountains, all over, hiking, fishing, never a clue of that. My family's been all in the hunting and doing all kinds of stuff. So anyway, I just, I went ahead and got my eyes on some of the websites, and the first one I got on was Kerry Arnold with Bigfoot Odyssey. And, I had no idea I was on the right ones, but
Yeah.
Carol, he told his story on that, and I was like, man, this could have been a Bigfoot, what could it have been, So anyway, I wanted answers. It kind of made me search for answers, and I started looking up all kinds of stuff. I actually found Dixie Cryptid and wrote my story to Cam Buckner, and Cam put it out. It's on one of his shows. He put my story out, and in the last thing I said in my story, I'm on to my next adventure, which is going to come up right now in a little while. But so anyway, I also, what led me from there, from Cam's, I went and I found Sawdust Beast. And that's why I saw you, Spencer, for the first time on Sawdust Beast. And Debbie, which wasn't Debbie Porch yet, I began to chat with her about things. And so then it led me, after that, I moved back to Texas, and I moved here where I live now, which is near Corpus Christi on the Gulf Coast. I'm about 2 miles from the bay. It takes me 10 minutes or 10 miles to the ocean. So
That must be nice.
I'm pretty close, but I mean it's nice. But there's so many tourists, you know. When you go to the beach, there's so many people. You got to know when to go, and the best time to go is in October when nobody's around. But but it's anyway. I've been down here. This is my 4th year, and I'm moving in about 3 weeks to back to the hill. So that's where I'm at right now, and I don't know if you want me to go ahead and start the story of what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
So
well, definitely tell it, and then we'll show your intro video. But
Well, look, before she dives off on that, something is killing me. You said you were doing professional rodeoing. What
yeah.
what did you do rodeoing? What was your deal?
Well, in high school, I did everything: barrel racing, pole bending, breakaway roping. But I went pro breakaway, and I team roped. I was in a women's circuit, and I was in the PRCA's version of the girls' circuit, and I rode breakaway whenever they had it. I was like 4th in the nation at one time. But
Wow.
yeah, it just yeah, it was a lot of traveling, a lot of going. The more you went, the more you made. But now they actually make more money than I did, and it's now gotten really big. Now it's finally in the PRCA finals, but it wasn't when I was there. You know, I made enough to go from one rodeo to the next, and to pay,
Wow.
you know. But it was an adventure. It was fun. My dad finally told me, he said, "When are you gonna get a real job?" You know, he wanted me to stop, but because he helped me pay my college, you know, and he wanted me to work on that. But
Look, anybody that hadn't ever been around the rodeo or rodeo women, they don't know what they're missing. Look, I'm just gonna jump out and say, before me and Wanda ever got together, I dated a girl for about 1.5 years, and that's what she rodeoed. She was a barrel racer. Yeah, I can't get into them stories.
oh my gosh. Well, yeah, I've been down the road a lot, but I rode in about 380 rodeos a year.
good
And
Lord.
Wow.
I traveled, and like 2 or 3 a week, and I was pretty busy, but I had to. I had friends that rodeoed with me, and we traveled from one place to the next, but together a lot. And but I spent a lot of nights on the road, late nights and out in the dark and all
Yeah.
that. So driving. Yeah. So anyway, but you want me to start where I moved here? What happened? Okay, well, so when I got here, in the first year I was here at Christmas, they were having a big Black Friday sale on. You know, I'm a sucker for those Black Friday sales. But anyway, I found a night vision camera that was like real cheap. I thought it was cheap, you know. And then I always kind of wanted one because, you know, I never know if I ever got to go camping. Maybe I would see a Bigfoot. You know, I thought it was going to be something that was going to enlighten me. I don't know. And around here, there's a game preserve. It's about 3 blocks from me, and there's a lot of exotic birds and stuff that you know, I thought I'd go out there at night and film or something, you know. But anyway, I got the camera, and it was like the second time I used it. I went out. I said it was the week after Christmas because we were on Christmas break, and I said I'm gonna try this camera. And it was late at night. I don't know what made me do it, but it was about 10:30 at night. And I said I'm gonna go outside and I'm gonna see if I can get this camera to work. So I have my 2 dogs. I had a pit bull mix, and I have my dog I have now is an Australian Shepherd. And I decided to go out back behind my house. There was a pasture that had grown up to about 9 feet tall, had trees and everything, and still got the trees on one side of the field. But behind my property, there's not anything back there for at least 20, 30 acres maybe. that's back behind my place. I have neighbors on both sides and in front of me, but we're all spread out. It's like a farming community. Some people have 5, 10 acres, some people just have a small acre. Hey, Debbie, I'm fixing to mention you. So anyway, I went out back with the camera and I was clicking on it and clicking on it. I didn't know how to really work it too good yet. I just, was learning how to use it. And I didn't have a flashlight. It was pitch dark. There was no moon out. It was dark. And so I go out there and I'm clicking on the camera. And anyway, I started filming. I saw a creature that I couldn't figure out what it was. And that's where it started. And I got kind of nervous. I was thinking about what was out here, what it was. And I was only about 20 feet from it, 25 feet from it. And it was on the other side of the brush from my yard that was cut. And I actually started getting nervous. So my camera was shaky and not knowing what it was and not knowing what was all around it. And I'm thinking, is this a raccoon? What is this? But I figured out later it couldn't have been a raccoon because I did go back in and measure it, and it was 7.5 to 8 feet tall from the tree, and from the fence line, it was only 4 feet in. And it was taller than this. You're going to see a post in my video, and it was above that post. And the post is like 4.5 feet or something like that. So it was big, whatever it was. And I really can tell you while I was filming it at first, I didn't know what it was. But then it started shifting into something weird, and it spooked me a lot. And I don't know what else to say. I just think that I videoed in my video. You're going to see some things, and then I guess we could talk more about it after I show some of the video.
Yeah. Go ahead and pull your video up, and I'll put it on the screen.
Okay. Well, you're going to hear at the beginning of the video, you're going to hear it grunt at me. Once you see it, you're going to have to listen. It's going to grunt. Something grunts at me. And my dogs, by the way, my Australian Shepherd ran home. I didn't even know why. She left. But my pit bull, he came and sat down right in the middle between me and it and didn't move and looking at me. And so he was like protecting me from whatever it was. But anyway, let me see. I'm going to pull it up.
Okay.
Can you see it?
Yeah. Go ahead and press play.
And y'all gonna have to forgive the shakiness. That's the post. And there it is back there. There it grunted. Did you hear the grunt?
Mm-hmm. Barely.
Let me back it up. It's not very loud, and he does it again later, but let me back it up. I passed it.
So is that thing, what, 8-10 feet from you, maybe?
I'm about 20 feet from it at this point, but right where his hand is, the black part looks like a hand. This over here on the right side, looking through the little bushes, is, I think, a creature. And MK Davis and Chris Reinhardt did a different video with me, and they think that is a hand, but I believe it's two different creatures, but we'll talk more about that in a minute. Let me keep playing it. You can see his hand move. the little end of it. He's looking at me right now. And I'm sorry for the shakiness, but I'll get steady here in a minute. Bet it better. See his hand moving right now?
Yeah.
This is my original video. Okay, so that's that part.
Okay.
You can bring me back.
And then the other part of the video, we might as well show it now. It's at the end of these pictures. I'll go ahead and get to the video.
I could say that there was 7 minutes or 8 minutes I filmed this thing, so there's a whole bunch of stuff in there, but I just showed the first part. So at the end of the video is where I think there's a dogman and a Bigfoot of the two creatures standing where that one creature was. And
I don't play that again. Let everybody get a look at it. I mean, it's hard to tell. It's moving so much.
pause it right there. Can you back it up some?
Yeah.
Back it up a little more. It's right at the end. It's not very much time. You can see what I'm talking about. Right there. Stop. Ah, you're out. Right there. That. Stop.
Hold on.
Back up a little more.
Back up more?
Yeah, you can only see half of him. There. Stop. Oh.
Okay. There?
No. Keep going. Stop. Stop right there.
Okay.
You seen when you backed it up? Now it's not there. Back up. One step. Right there. Stop. Okay. The one on the thing on the right, I think is a dog man, and the one on the left, I think is a Bigfoot creature, or some kind of creature. And if you back it forth that picture, you can see them both look at me, and you can see their mouth open and close. But I have better shots of it on my phone. I have went over this and over this and over this. Right there, they're looking at me, and see, he'd move his hand. It move its hand.
That's where it would make you want to play fetch with a hand grenade with them.
Right.
Yeah, well, you know, when I was videoing it, though, I could not see exactly what it happened so fast, and I didn't video it very long enough. You know, it was like 3 seconds of that. They were there, and I had moved the camera off, not knowing that was there. So when I went in and I videoed, I was telling Spencer this a while back, but I thought I had like a Monster Inc. going on in my backyard. I had all kinds of what I thought were monsters in the video, but they were still shots that I pulled out of each video. So I guess that's what Spencer's going to show you now. But I seen one creature I've never seen before, and it had a bunch of little babies on it. And I think they're baby dogmen. This is my opinion, you know. Now, this picture is a picture of the Bigfoot that was not even in the picture. You have to look at the top below the V. You can see the top of its head. and it was in the complete dark. I pulled it out with just lightning a picture. I don't know if y'all can see the face. Can y'all see that face in there?
I'm not the one to ask to discern on pictures. I got a bad eye for this kind of stuff.
I mean, I could say that, yeah, possibly. I mean, whether it's pareidolia or not, but I can make out like the head, the face, the nose, and like where the little lighter spot where it's probably its mouth.
Yeah. Go to the next picture. That's not the one I was talking about, though. That was just some creature that ran across from me about 4 feet from me. I don't know what that is. That was weird. That's the same one as the first one, so
Okay.
keep going. All right, stop here. This is what is the strangest creature, and he's the one that's got all the babies on it. Now, whether I caught this creature in, or the Bigfoot hiding a bunch of babies like a nursery or something, I don't know. I don't know if all these things came out of a portal from hell. I don't know. It was just weird stuff. That I think I have a close up of this guy, and he's weird looking. It's like he's got horns, a mustache, nose, but these are the babies on him. If you can see the eyes. Now, why do I know or think they're babies? I'm going to tell you. There's another picture I have with one of them on a head of a creature, but Scott Carpenter had one on his Dogman, just like that. And I got a hold of Scott Carpenter to ask him about it. And the week that we were supposed to talk on the phone, he passed away.
Wow.
And I talked to, was it T Carp, his son, Travis? I talked to him, and he said it was okay for me to talk to you about this. Hold it right there. Let me tell this story. But T Carp told me that his dad never talked about it, but he was real interested in that picture and my pictures, because I sent him both and told him what I thought. And he said his dad never talked about it, but he did mention it. And so anyway, then I heard a video from a lady that was on one of the Bigfoot shows, and she talked about when these babies were crawling all over their Dogman, and that it would crawl on the top of the head and then crawl around the body. So I'm just assuming that I was right, that these are babies. I mean, like puppies, because dogs have a lot of puppies. There was a lot of them. There's like 8 of them. So I don't know. That's just my opinion. So this is the creature. He's sitting down on the ground and holding all these creatures, these little babies. So you can switch it.
Okay.
That's a close up of the babies. All right, this here, I think that's Booger, the big one behind with the eyeball. I think that was the one that was behind the bushes in the beginning of the video, because he was big. I don't know what creature.
So did you video all this out? Is all this out of that one video, or is this multiple videos?
I had one video. It was almost 8 minutes long, and
Okay.
so this was in the video. Yeah, but I could not see this with my naked eye. After a video. All right, so this is the picture of the video that we went back and forth on. The Dogman on the right and the Bigfoot on the left. And this is where MK and them thought this was a hand, but it might have been a hand at the beginning, but it turns into these two creatures. I believe that they're two separate creatures there. And it was one at the first where we were watching at the beginning of my video. It was one creature that I saw. I physically saw the one creature. But when I filmed this, I was scanning my camera back and forth. I got the freaking out thinking if there's a Bigfoot out here, there's got to be more than one. And I was so vulnerable. I mean, I was out there by myself in the middle of nothing, and all these, things were going through my mind, and my mind started racing, and probably that's why I started shaking more. But I didn't know that I caught this until I slowed the video down, and it was at the end of the video. But if you go back and forth on a video that I have, you can see it open and close its mouth at me. And it grunts again. Go ahead. This is the creature up close. Well, I don't know. You see the eye, mouth, and it's just the weirdest thing. You tell me what you see. I mean,
I'm kind of like Spencer. I get lost on a lot of the pictures.
I would fail a Vorshank's test. To me, this looks like an ink blot, but I wasn't there. You were, so you tell
well,
us.
The picture before, this is a close-up of the face.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and you can see a glint on the right side at the top. You can see an eye. It's pretty big, and it's kind of got a sparkle in it. That's an eye. And then the white part down there is a mouth. But I zoomed in on it, tried to lighten it up. That's about all I did. So move forward. Okay, so when I took the pictures of the video, this is the daytime picture. That's where I was standing. You can see bushes behind me. Behind there is about 8 feet tall. It was really grown up. It was everywhere. And actually, it was even more because it froze the next night after that night. And so these bushes by the post here were green, probably a little bit more taller. And when I took the video, and it took me a while to want to go back out there. It was weird. It was spooky. And so anyway, I called Debbie Porch, which was in the chat. I hope she's still here. But I got a hold of Debbie after I videoed this. And I told her what I did. I sent her some shots, some still shots, pictures. And we talked about it. She told me to go out and try to do some stick structures, little small things on the ground to see if it moves. Clips. And I did that, and nothing happened. I videoed them for like 2 weeks. They didn't move. I did measurements. I climbed in there. There was a lot of briars and stuff in there, and I climbed in there and measured from that tree limb at the top to the ground and where this creature was, and I determined it to be about 7.5 feet tall. And it was in front of that limb. I mean, pretty much. So I don't know. You get the next picture. About a week later, they came in and cleared the land for no reason. I mean, none of it. That they cleared all of that part where to the left of me, it was all cleared out, but it wasn't before. And they just came in and I don't know why, in the freezing cold, they'd be out there clearing land because it was like in the 20s, which is cold for here. And they were out there with a big combine, some kind of mower that just mowed down everything, and they cleared it all out. Hello. Anyway, I don't know if it has anything to do with me calling Debbie and talking to her, but it was kind of a coincidence, and I'm Not sure, but I don't know the people, and I never talked to them. I'm sure I'm not going to go over there. Why'd y'all clear this out? They probably wouldn't tell me anyway. But um, it was interesting. It was all cleared like that.
So, why do you think? Why do you think there would have been whatever there when you happened to just walk outside at 10:30 that night to start messing with the cameras? Any ideas?
No, I had some thoughts about it, but I'm not sure. I never told this part of the story, but about a week before that, I went down to the game preserve. I take my dog out there a lot, and I saw this lady in this car, and she was like from New Mexico, because I was interested because it had New Mexico license plates, but she had been down there for a long time, and I mean like days. And I'm thinking if something wrong with her, but anyway, I walked by her and she looked at me, and she looked like a witch. I mean, she was like spooky, scary witchy. It spooked me, and I went and got the truck and left. This just happened a week before that. I don't know that. I'm just speculating. Maybe she was, and maybe she was out there doing some spells in the area. I don't know, but I don't know. I thought maybe if they were there, they were just passing through, because they sure wasn't there the week after that.
That is true. Pam's comment, PJ's comment. I'm gonna tell y'all. I don't try to judge people by the videos and the pictures, because you weren't there. I know I've been out there and tried. Hell, it's hard to take a decent picture of a track that you might find. It's hard to get a good picture where it really shows up and you throw it online. Like I keep saying about audio, you can have the best audio, but it doesn't do it justice whenever you listen to it online. So the pictures, you have to listen to the person and understand you weren't there, the person was there. Let them explain what they experienced and go with that. The pictures are hard.
Yeah,
the pictures are hard. The pictures are hard. The video's hard.
I still hadn't showed y'all the pictures, but they you're right. I mean, I know what I saw when I was videoing, and I'm just showing you what I saw in the video when I slowed it down. And I think there's also a spiritual thing too. I'm not sure if it wasn't a portal out there. I used to not believe in anything but flesh and blood, and maybe it still is, but I believe here closer to the end of times, that there's a veil that is thinning, and that creatures are coming out more and more. People are seeing more and more stuff. And we talked about this too, Spencer, where my camera was picking up stuff that I did not see. And there's creatures out there that we don't know of that are crawling and walking and doing things that are in the spirit realm, and our camera are picking them up. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. I think you said Kumbo's filmed some stuff, and there's things out we don't know about. And I don't know if the veil, like I said, is thinning, where maybe they're showing themselves more and more, and something's getting ready to happen in this world.
Well, Dee Dee, what's strange, and this is just from me being in this stuff for 25 years now. What's absolutely perplexing is sometimes people, they see them with their eyes and try to film them, and the film is horrible. Yeah. But then you don't see it, and they film it, and it shows up. It's like you never have it both together. It's like one or the other, and it's just odd, severely odd.
Well, something I think that comes into the conversation, and I know people are going to give me crap about this, but I think it's true. I very much wonder. I mean, I wholeheartedly, I believe in God, and I believe in angels and demons, and I believe in other stuff. I also know that boogers exist, but I wonder how much there is overlap of like the supernatural stuff
Mm-hmm.
with like the regular boogers and dogmen stuff. I know people that have had very good detailed accounts that sound 100% believable to me about a booger stealing deer or carrying off a deer or carrying off a hog, stuff like that. Okay, obviously, if you're a physical creature, you're carrying it off because you're going to eat it, right? I mean, that's the general assumption. We can assume that. Then there are people talking about, hey, I saw one step out of a portal. If you step out of a portal, are you mystical, magical, supernatural? Do you even need to eat? Is that where you get the 1 or 2 tracks and then there's no more tracks? Because I found that myself.
Yeah.
I don't know how this stuff converges. I do know this. The more you're closed-minded, the more you're like, nope, they're this and this and this, and this is all they do. You are going to overlook a ton of crap. And I also know that the people that have done this for a long time, that have really done this, that have gone out and looked for these things, like I have, like Greg has, like Kumbo has, like Debbie Porch has. The more you do this, the more you have no choice but to accept there's some really weird shit that goes on with all of this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know how you explain it. I think you need to keep an open mind and listen to what everybody has to say. And I mean, you can make up your own opinion, but don't go around thinking you have the answers on this. None of us do. There are no experts in this field.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that. They say that people, because of the internet, have gotten more encounters, but I just feel that there's more of the supernatural coming out. With the more orbs and more dogmen and stuff like that. Because I've been all over the place in the hills and mountains when I was growing up, and there was no orb and no dogmen and none of that stuff was.
We never heard about. You didn't hear about orbs 20 years ago.
I know.
You hear about it now. Hey, we just had people in Hollins. We're still waiting to see what the deal is, but very good chance that they got some very good evidence of orbs. You wait for everybody. If you don't know this about Joe and Pat, they've got a video that whenever it comes out, hopefully they're going to show some of it on Woodwalkers. When it comes out, wait till you see that, because just wait till you see that. That's impressive.
Spencer, Katie G showed me a video last night at camp. She had took, and dude, it's like a green light or an orb. It's not real big, but she was filming like Billy and them singing. In between her and them, this thing was doing this, like going. It wasn't like a bug or like a lightning bug. No, this thing was like a little orb just dancing around, going all over the place, and then it just left. And it was for a long time. She videoed it. She's like, I don't know what it was, but it was green, and it was like a little green orb, and it was just going all over, and it would go up and back, and then it was gone. So, yeah.
I think that there were more and more sightings though, but I mean, people word for mouth would have got around back then. It doesn't. There's just more happening to me. I think, and what I experienced, you would never thought you'd see it where I'm at. Where did it come from? I mean, I live on the coast, and even if there was no other creatures in that video, I know the one was there. And where did it come from? What was it doing here? And how did it get here? I know it cleared out because I went out. I made myself buck up, brave up, and I went out there the next night with my camera, with a gun and a flashlight. And I thought if it's there, it's going to be there again. And I went out there and nothing was there.
Yeah. Well, ain't that always how it is?
It was the same. I mean, it was just blank out there, so I know that it was gone, whatever it was. And I didn't have that feeling as much, but I was scared to death to go out there, and I did. I made myself go out there and do it. And I'm going to live here. I want to know, you know. So, but I was scared for my dog for a long time to go out, you know. That's for sure.
Wait. So after all this happens, you decide to retire and to move to the hill country where you're going to be 3,000 acres out away from everybody.
Yeah. I'm used to that area and that land. I understand the dangers. I know where it's around the corner. I mean, it's there's no phone service out there either. It's kind of off grid. It's pretty
even better phone service, so you can't call anybody in case anything does happen.
Yeah. Well, I have a satellite
Phone.
No, I have a satellite. Starlink has a little RV satellite thing, and I can call on it with my phone. And
So like where you're going to be, how far is it going to be, like into even like a small town? Is it going to be a pretty good ways?
No, it's about 35 miles, but you go about, it takes longer, but get there, but you go a long ways to a dirt road. I mean, it's dirt roads for about 8 miles. You know?
Wow.
Yeah. But they're really nice dirt roads. I mean, they got
really nice dirt roads.
They do. They have them. Well, it's not like it's
a really nice dirt road is a gravel road.
No, these are hard clotchy roads, but they got they maintain them because the ranch I live going to be on has an association, and they maintain our road on the ranch.
Huh. Okay.
So yeah, that's the only thing I maintain.
Please tell me, or don't tell me that where you're going out in the middle of nowhere, that the damn ranch has got like a HOA that you're gonna have to deal with.
I just deal with an HOA for the ranch, for the property. No, there's no restrictions. No.
Okay. I was
The HOA
saying,
restricts for the road and for the water wells. There's water wells on the property.
I'm just gonna tell you, I couldn't handle a HOA. I'm not a HOA person. That's like miniature Adolf Hitler communism gone wild.
Yeah, well, the good thing about this is I get my money back every year. They pay us. It's like I put it in and then it comes back on me, so I get it back every year. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I don't know how it works, but I got paid back last year. Yeah.
Wow.
But they use it to maintain the road mainly, because if it storms out there, you know, it's hard to get through around some of those roads. There's creeks and stuff that go through dry creek beds, but when it rains, they're flash flood creek beds. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's I have a video on my Facebook page of the property. I took a video of it out there. But
so now you won't have any like power out there. You don't have to either generators, solars.
I have solar. I'm gonna be off grid. Okay. I bought stuff to get solar going in a small cabin, and I'm gonna add to it. And I got an inverter, and I got a big solar generator and some solar panels and stuff.
Yeah.
But it runs my whole camper, which my camper's not very big, but it runs the air conditioner and everything, that my refrigerator, my camper.
Wow.
Yeah. So I've been out there a week at a time, and but I'm looking forward to the day I get a real building out there, though. So
yeah,
a house, cabin, or something.
Yeah. How many square foot cabin are you thinking about doing?
Well, probably I would like a 38 by 16, 38 by 16, maybe.
Yeah.
Not very big enough for a one bedroom, but
yeah.
Yeah. maybe
Well, Lord, if you're there by yourself, that's plenty of room.
what I can afford. Yeah, I'm gonna have a carport and a storage out there too, and so, I have a catchment tank that I'm gonna be catching water in, so rainwater. Plus, um, like I said, they have shared wells on the ranch that I'll have to haul water until I get a well dug, but that's coming too.
Yeah.
I wonder average like out there where you're at. I wonder how deep a water well has to be. You got any idea?
400 feet.
400 feet.
Yep,
Yeah.
Holy cow.
400 feet.
I think my well here is like 290.
Yeah, that's pretty deep for that.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's about 400 feet. I've already checked into them all, so with a bunch of people. But anyway, that's what's happening with me. I did find a footprint and a structure on one of the rivers near my place. I took a picture. I was down there just swimming, and I didn't have anything to measure it with, and I wasn't looking for nothing. But like cemented into the rock bed and on the river.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like it was stiff. You could have casted it real easy, but the water was down where it was below where the footprint was, and I took some pictures of that, and they're like ancient. It wasn't like something just happened. And but I did find a structure out there too, and I don't know if it was kids or if it was real, but it wasn't sawed off sticks. It were broke off, and the structure was piled up. But I mean, I'm not out researching, but I'm aware of everywhere I go now, and I'm looking and I'm paying attention to stuff because I've learned a lot in it's been 8 years now, and I've really been, conscious of what's around me, and I'm not just going out there on a whim. I know what to be careful and what to look for. So, honestly, don't know what's going to happen next, but that's where my journey's taken me so far.
Well, I think as long as you're aware of it, I mean, if you're going to be out in the middle of nowhere, you gotta be aware of these kind of things. But as long as you're aware of it, I mean, you probably be just fine. If you were standing 20 feet away from whatever the hell that is in the video and the pictures and nothing happened to you, I mean, you most likely be fine. Then again, you could wind up a missing 411. I don't know. Dee Dee, if this is the last time we ever talk to you, goodbye. It was nice knowing you.
It was, yeah. It won't happen, but I mean, I could be. Speaking of that, I wanted to say that when I was in New Mexico and I took that video of the prints, there's a couple of things I missed about that. Was I did send those prints to Dr. Meldrum, and he said that they were inconclusive because I didn't video them. But after researching that area, I found out that the missing 411, the Hunted series, had a guy that went missing on that very mountain that I was at. Below,
Really?
yeah, he was on that video. It was Elk Mountain, and it was the video. It was the mountain right there that come down to that creek. And so that was pretty interesting, kind of spooky. And also found out that in Comfort, where I was, where the house was getting slapped, that there was Bigfoot activity that was only 4 miles from my cabin. So I know that was possibly a Bigfoot out there. And what else would hit the cabin so hard that knocked the pictures off, So over the years of me, backing up and thinking about things, I can see these things are happening that had happened because of activity.
Yeah. Well, if you don't know to think about. It's just like whenever we had two crows and boogers on here, Earl. But anyway, like him, he had the house slapped and he didn't know what to make of it. He was like, I don't know what, sound like something big ran into the house.
Yeah.
If you're not thinking boogers, I mean, that doesn't cross your mind.
It never crossed my mind until I saw the tracks in Santa Fe, and then I started thinking, what happened, and then I hear all the stories of people's house getting slapped, and put it two and two together, and then finding out that there was a video of activity like that close to that cabin. They're out there, they're in the hill country of Texas.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Well,
but anyway, Greg, I'm more worried about mountain lions and rattlesnakes than I am boogers.
I watch these videos. I do HVAC work, and I see these videos. These guys out there in Texas crawl under people's houses, and there'll be like 100 rattlesnakes. No, I'd be like, look, y'all get your shit, get outside. I'm fixing to wash this whole place with gas, and we're gonna dry it with a match.
Yeah. No, I ain't crawling under nothing. Yeah, I know. I've lived out there, and I've been around that part of the country a long time, and so I kind of am aware. I'm really aware of the things out there. There's all kinds of things that can kill me besides that. But I'm still here. God's protecting me, I know, and my faith in the good Lord, and that's the only thing that keeps me safe and sane.
Yeah. Golly, yeah. But look, I'll just tell you, I'm kind of envious of you getting off out there in the middle of nowhere. That would be cool.
And shoot a deer off my porch, yeah.
Oh yeah. I can't say nothing. I can't say nothing. I've killed deer off my porch. I mean, look.
Sure. Well,
yeah.
I'm inviting anybody that wants to brave themselves to come and visit me, and they're welcome to it. I know Joe Parker and Pat wanted to come as soon as they heard I got the land. But
oh Lord,
yeah, it's rough out there though. I mean,
one of these days I'm gonna just take 2 months off and just go on a drive about. I'm gonna just go bounce around and visit folks.
That's what I want to do. I want to hit Louisiana, Arkansas, Texas, Oklahoma, because I'm never going to get there currently. It takes too damn long to drive, and I'm not flying.
Yeah,
well,
flight right on the list.
Well, from the coast where I'm at, my property is about 4.5 hours from me. So it's
wow.
And then I'm 4 hours to the border of Louisiana. So it's about 8-9 hours from the border of Louisiana to my property.
Good Lord.
Wow.
Texas is a big damn state.
And that ain't even all of Texas. That's just going across, So yeah it's big. It's
wow.
Look at it. No, you don't get to weigh in. You haven't even been on the show for 2 shows.
Look, Woodwalker's on tour. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
we'll do a tour where we video everything, and then we'll have a meet and greet at the end of it. That'd be just great.
Yeah, we just have a meet and greet like every third day when we get somewhere. Look, in my mind, I'm sitting here wondering, that's how my mind works. I'm thinking there'd have to be some places out there to scratch around and find artifacts too. My gosh. Oh.
Well, that's my thing, and the reason I like it out there so much is there's a lot of arrowheads. There's a lot of wild things. The Comanches were a lot in that area, and there's a lot of probably Old West gunfights and stuff that went on, Texas Rangers and stuff in that area. Then the Comancheros and all that were all in that area with the Comanches, and so there's all kinds of stuff out there, and I just can't wait to get out there and start digging and finding what I can find. But I haven't been out there pretty much. But
sounds like you're gonna have to invest in a really good metal detector too.
I already got one, but I've been doing that for years. But at my property in Comfort, we found fossils, a lot of fossils of seashells, total, completely done. I would show you one, but I already packed them up. But you have a whole seashell that's fossilized, and not just a clam shell, but the round ones, all kinds of shells that I have, and that's all the way up in the middle part of South Texas. So there's all kinds of stuff, and plus I've gotten with Blaylock. He's going to David. He's going to. Me and him are going to swap some material for arrowheads, because there's all kinds of flint and chert out there that they made arrowheads out of, that the Indians did. And in fact, I found a few out there. Found one that was a knife made by somebody. It was you can tell it was carved out for a knife. Yeah.
Look, one of our shows, maybe if I think about it, I'm going to break out some of my airhead collection, and that way I can just hold them up, show y'all some of the stuff that I found. North Alabama was thick with Indians, and my God, the history here of like what I find is on our private land. But I found stuff that's according to what they got at the museum, because there's an Indian mound village, like an old Indian village up here. The mounds here at Oakville, it's in North Alabama. And back a few years ago, I would find artifacts, arrowheads, spears, knives, bird points, grinding bowls, and I would carry it by the museum. And the guy that was the curator, I'd let him look at it, and he would tell me more about it and give me what they estimated, a rough estimate of how many years old it was. Some of the stuff I've got like supposed to be 6,000 to 8,000 years old at least. And it was just cool, because I know that when I found this point, like under the rock bluffs that's on my property, I'm digging this stuff, and I've dug down over 5 feet deep under a rock shelter. And I'm the first human to lay hands on this since the dude that probably made it.
Yeah.
And it blows my mind when I get that in my hand and I'm looking at it. It's like, oh my God. But we find them in the fields. We plow the fields. We'll go back and walk. Me and Wanda used to walk all the time and find points. And y'all, I really do. I've got some stuff that would be museum quality.
Well, I'd like to see it, man, because as what I am as a rock hound, I got so many places and things that I've been to dig, and I'd like to see those arrowheads.
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, I've got a lot of cool stuff. I mean, I was hunting on some timber company land we had leased, and it came up a thunderstorm. This was in the winter, like in November, and I was about a half a mile from the truck. The way the road went around, I was stalk hunting. It started thundering, just a little storm blew up. And I knew that if I cut and went straight up the kind of a draw in the mountain, I could go straight back up the mountain to my truck. And I'd never been up through there. And I started walking up, and where the hollow started narrowing up toward the top, there was a small shelter bluff overhang. And this thing was small. It was probably 20 feet across and went back about 15, 20 feet. It was about 8 foot high. I got up under it. About the time I got under it, it started raining, thundering, and lightning. And I'm backing up from the edge to get away from the rain blowing in. Well, I get back to the back wall of this, basically like a cave. I look back, and it's like the wall went down, and it like lipped out, went down again. So it's like a kitchen counter, about belly button high, went across this thing. Well, I'm standing there looking, and I thought, why in the hell's a chicken been in here? Because it looked like a chicken egg. It looks like an egg sitting on this moss. Well, I step over there to it. When I reached down and grabbed it, it was rock. It was a stone. This thing, it was oblong, but it looked just like a chicken egg. And I'm picking it up, and I look down in this moss, and there's like a little rock bowl that it was sitting in. It was like $50 size and about probably a half-inch deep, just like a little bowl. Well, I grabbed the moss and peeled the moss back. The moss was about that thick, and it rolls over. Well, the little bowl was in a nutting stone. It was a rock about that big square, about 3 inches thick. It had a bowl in the one side, and you could flip it over, and there's a bowl in the other. It was just like somebody had used a little hammerstone in the bowl, set it together, and put it on a shelf, and never came back. But I found it sitting together on that rock. That's
Wow.
one of my greatest things I ever found. I found like nutting stones or little bowls, and I'd find the little hammerstones, but they were never together. This one was like you'd used it, put it on a shelf 1,000 years ago, and never came back home.
Wow.
So
That's cool. I've been to Arkansas and different places when I rodeoed. I used to go and dig for crystals and all kinds of quartz and stuff like that. And
yeah,
I've found most of my arrowheads though in Texas. You know, there's a lot of Indians wars that went on around here, mostly the fights stuff. But anyway, it's all interesting stuff to me. You might find me in some quarry somewhere hunting for something, but
well, it sounds like you're opening up a chapter of your life that's going to be very interesting.
well, I mean, you got to keep on going. I'm looking forward to just being able to not have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go to work every day, you know, and plan to do things. I definitely will be doing some fishing out there. You know, there's rivers close enough and places to go still that I've been to a lot, and there's some spooky names out there. I was telling Spencer this last night or 2 days ago, but the Devil's River is one of the closest rivers to me, and then there's a place that a ranch that's right next to me called the Two Dogs Devil, and it's in Spanish, but it means two devil dogs, and I don't know what that means, and I don't know the owner yet. I'm gonna have to ask him.
Just like we've said on previous shows, anytime you find something on a map that's
It says devil.
older locations and it's devils this
Mm-hmm.
or demons that,
Yep.
Yeah,
you can I'm telling you, like the Devil's Rock Yard,
Mm-hmm.
which is not too far from where I am, the Devil's Rock Yard, guess what? Booger sightings all around it. The Devil's Hot Tub, guess what? Booger
Boogers.
sightings right there at it.
There's a place also called the Devil's Cinco, and it's not too far from me, and it's huge. And people say that there's a lot of paranormal going on out there. It's going to be probably 40 miles from my property.
All I'm saying is they got their names for a reason.
Yeah, but it's spooky stuff out there. Yeah. But there have been dogmen sightings in my area, and I just bind those in the name of Jesus. I don't want to see one of those. You know, don't want to deal with that. I mean, hopefully, if anything comes across my little property, they're just moving through, and you know,
Well,
let them keep on going.
You're going to have to come into town and make a phone call if you have anything happen and keep us apprised.
Well, hopefully when I get my cabin, I'll be able to go live and go get on the show some, you know, I'll be able to connect with y'all. But
maybe at some point we'll get a few people out your way and check the land out, see what you got.
Well, I'd be glad to have people. Yeah. They want to come that far, man. I'm about 3 hours from San Antonio. So it's pretty far.
If I come out there, I'm gonna stay at your place one night and just look around, and then I'm gonna go hit all of the barbecue restaurants in Texas I can fit in for two days.
I know a bunch of them. Yeah. I was just gonna say I thank y'all for having me on today. I'm appreciate that. That's a cool arrowhead.
That is cool. No, thank you for coming on and sharing everything that you did. I mean, again, like I said, you can't judge by the pictures and the video. I mean, it's a reference, but it's you know, everybody make up their own mind on that. You have to listen to the person. If you weren't there, you know, and yes, House, you can post all your shit on the Facebook page, or we can do a whole separate show and you can go through all of your artifacts. You should see some of the stuff he has in his vault over there. He does.
I'm gonna have to come to the man cave and come visit
You got
y'all.
to go to the man cave and go sign the giant. By the way, did Gary Spike sign the Bigfoot?
He hadn't yet. I told him before he leaves, he's got to sign the Bigfoot.
Okay.
Yep, he's got to sign the Bigfoot. But
Not sure. How far am I from early Texas? I'm not sure where early is.
Don't look at me.
I know Mark's from Texas. Mark Ledford.
Yeah, he said hi to you earlier. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, those.
There goes.
I'm close to Rock Springs. My property's close to Rock Springs, Texas.
I saw that Kat and Hillary both were posting our other affiliate people that we know their websites up on, or the links, the YouTube links up on there. Thank y'all for doing that. We have some of the greatest moderators in the world. It's amazing. We don't really get a bunch of trolls or goofballs in the chat, except for whenever House jumps in there. He likes to jump in and stir up shit while he's on the show. But anyway.
Yeah, those points that's on that sign on my door, that's something we found right there on my dad's farm.
Nice. Yep. I like that kind of stuff. That's stuff I've been looking at for years, going through and looking for years. So you're pretty
it makes me
fortunate.
I mean, that goes back into the booger factor of it. The boogers use stuff like that, reckon? I mean, I don't know.
Who knows?
Sure.
I know that one of the things that's always stuck out in my mind, now I think it's weird. I found one of these one time. I've heard several people talk about finding what looks like a fireplace, or a not a fireplace, but like a fire pit out in the middle of the woods, and it'll have like wood stacked in it, but it was never lit. But I'm talking about coming from people where they were like, this is an active area. People that know what they're talking about in the Bigfoot field. This was an active area, and they're like, it's just weird. It's almost like, do boogers see humans making a fire? And maybe they don't know how to start a fire. Maybe they do. I mean, hell, I don't know. But are they out there building random fire pits in the middle of the woods going, okay, we got all the stuff. How do we get it to go up in flames?
No doubt.
Do you think they could? They'll probably use the bones of animals for tools and weapons. You know, you'd think they'd use those.
Well, why would they have to though? They're they can pick up a rock and
they might want to clean the hair off or something.
maybe.
Maybe skin a deer.
They do that.
Oh, they pull the hide off one.
I bet you they do.
Yeah, they pull the hide.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing, you know. And at some point, we ought to get Kumbo on to talk about the points where he started putting two and two together about how they were tearing the hide open, because that's kind of an interesting story right there. Anyway, they used fire, but it's usually in desperation and cold weather.
Huh.
You could calm down, Lisa. How do you know that? I'm gonna call her. They use fire only when they're desperate.
But you can show them how to start one, huh?
I would humbly submit that somebody's going to make a comment that says I'd be the last person in the world to show them how to start a damn fire.
Oh my God!
Oh yeah, I know it's coming. I just beat them to it. Y'all, thank you, Dee Dee, for doing the show.
Thank you.
Hope you get off to a good start out there. Seriously, you gotta check in with us and everything. For everybody that is traveling back from Hollins, because there's a lot of y'all still on the road, just be careful. Let us know when you get home and everything. I texted Billy and I haven't heard back from him, so I'm gonna hop off here and see if I can get a hold of him. But everybody, thanks for joining the show. Take care. We will see y'all next weekend. And hopefully, if I can get the people on, well, anyway, see y'all next weekend. It'll be a good show. Y'all take care.
Bye,
Big
y'all.
love, y'all.
Thank you, Dee Dee.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dee Dee.
Bye.
I mean, look, on the computer, you have to hit okay. Anyway.
Just turn me on, turn me up, and turn me loose.